Hello, welcome everyone. Hello, welcome. Today is Friday, June the 19th, 2020, 6 a.m., and we are here for another Facebook Live yoga class. This is our Vinyasa Flow Level 1 practice, so I hope everyone is having a wonderful day today. Uh, just with us checking in, and Dawn, very nice to see you today. Good morning, happy Friday. For Gail, good morning as well. Hope that you ladies are having a lovely morning today. And without further ado, let us begin our practice together. So let's find our way onto our mats, and we're going to start in a pose called constructive rest. So the knees come together, the feet are about hips width distance apart, and then just begin to allow the eyes to close here. So I'll be joining you throughout today's practice, and please feel free to take any modifications that you may need throughout today's practice here. And I hope that you guys are having a lovely morning and doing very well today. So nice to see everyone here, and just begin to find your way back into your breathing and allow that breath to be long and slow. So as you take your attention to your breath, just begin to notice the rise and the fall of the belly here. This is a great way to start to check into our practice together. So oftentimes when we start our practice, our first place to begin is just noticing where we are. And a great way to do that is just to feel the body and how it makes contact with the floor. So begin to notice the feet, feeling the tops of the feet and the backs of the feet. Allow the toes to be spread wide apart here. And then just let the feet release on down. Feel the inner thighs releasing down towards the heels. So you'll notice here that the inner thigh flesh, which is really at the center of the legs, it begins to revolve down. It's actually releasing rather towards the tailbone. And as you continue to breathe here, just allow that tailbone to lengthen slightly forward towards the heels. So you may need to press down slightly through the feet here in order to feel that tailbone lengthening forward. Good. So as we notice these contact points, we come back to them throughout our practice. And the yoga practice that we do is really about allowing the mind and the body to be together and connected. As you feel ready, take your arms, raise the palms up towards the ceiling. See that the palms face one another. And allow the shoulders to draw back in towards the shoulder girdle. So we often talk about 3 bandhas in our practice. The feet, well, there's many bandhas. There's the feet, there's the hands, there is the pelvis, and then there is the shoulders. So not our bandhas, rather our foundation. These are our foundational poses, our girdles. So as you press down through the feet, begin to feel the tailbone lengthening forward towards the heels, and begin to extend the arms over the head any amount. So the palms don't necessarily need to come towards the floor. They could just extend towards the back of the room. And begin to smooth the flesh of the buttocks all the way towards the heels as you engage the belly in. Good. As you exhale, lengthen those fingers back up towards the ceiling again. We're going to do that again. So press down through the sides of the shoulders. Begin to engage your core muscles here. And as you smooth the flesh of the buttocks towards the heels, begin to float the arms up and over the head. So see that the fingers face one another. See that the arms are in external rotation, meaning that the triceps begin to revolve in. The biceps begin to revolve away. Good. That creates some space for the shoulders. And as you exhale here, draw the arms back up and to the ceiling. Once again, lengthen the buttocks flesh towards the front of the mat. One more time here. So as you press the fingers towards one another, imagine you have a block in between the fingers. Then begin to press down through the feet and lengthen the buttocks flesh all the way towards the heels. Take the arms up over the head any amount here. Keep drawing the buttocks towards the heels. outer thighs draw to inner thighs, belly is engaged. As you exhale here, lower the pelvis down and hug the right knee into the chest. So we draw the right knee into the chest here. We draw both elbows down towards the sides of our rib cage. Allow the center chest to lengthen on up. Good. As you exhale here, release the right foot down. Inhale, float the arms up and over the head. Press through the balls of the feet and begin to lift up the pelvis as you smooth the flesh of the buttocks towards the backs of the heels. Belly's engaged, arms come over the head. As you exhale, draw the left knee into the chest, releasing the tailbone down towards the mat. So again here, we hug the outer elbows in. We release the elbows right down towards the sides of the ribs as you begin to peel up through the sternum. As you exhale here, release that left foot on down. Press down through both feet. Inhale. Float the tailbone forward as you lengthen the arms back behind you. Continue to wrap those outer triceps in as you engage your belly. Once again, exhale, lower the pelvis on down. Take the right knee into the chest. This time, take the right foot and cross it over the top of the left thigh. As you place the foot over the top of the left thigh, flex the right foot here. So see that the right toes are flexed. Take your right hand and press your right hand towards the right thigh to allow the right outer hip to move away from you. Now you could stay here, while some of us are going to take the hands behind the back of that left leg and just begin to draw the left knee into the chest. This is a great stretch for the groins. Now I realize that some of us may not have our groins open yet because we haven't stretched, so please be mindful here. If you feel too much tightness in the groins, just keep the left foot down on the mat. As you continue to breathe here, relax the shoulders down the spine. Feel the belly engaged. Feel the breath long and slow. As you exhale here, release the left foot down towards the mat. Now take your hips, draw your hips over towards the right side of the room. So you're going to lift your hips up, draw them towards the right, and then you're going to release your legs over towards the left. If you can, keep this same alignment with the legs. Usually what will happen here is the right knee will start to move towards the left shoulder. You could take your left hand and press that gently into that left inner thigh to allow that right hip to move away from you. Very good. Breathe here as you begin to turn your chest, sternum, and armpit over towards the right side. So even though you're twisting over to the left, you're turning your head over towards the right. Inhale, find your legs back to center. Hug the right knee into the chest. Release the right foot on down. Take the arms once again. Raise the arms up and over the head. Wrap the outer triceps in. Belly draws towards the spine. Smooth the flesh of the buttocks towards the heels as you lengthen the arms up and over the head any amount. As you exhale here, lengthen the tailbone down towards the mat. Hug your left knee into the chest. As you draw that left knee into the chest here, feel the left shoulder, feel the right shoulder, feel both shoulders drawing down in towards the center chest. So the shoulders, which are the outsides of the body, they draw down towards the mat and they hug in towards the center chest. Shoulder blades lift up. Now take your left shin, place your left shin over the top of the right thigh. Take your left hand, place your left hand into the left inner thigh. Press your left inner thigh away from you. Good. As you press your left inner thigh away, notice the space that's being created in your left thigh crease. If you'd like, and you don't have any really tightness in the inner groins or in the outer hips, you could begin to draw the right leg in towards the chest. So I'd recommend taking the hands towards the back of that right leg And breathing here as you smooth the flesh of the buttocks away from you. Continue to press that left outer hip away. Continue to draw the shoulders in towards the sternum. Breathe here. You lengthen through the chest. Hug that belly on in. Continue to breathe as you smooth the flesh of the buttocks out towards the heels. And as you exhale, release that right foot on down. Now, as you're ready, begin to take your hips and walk them over one step to the left. Take your feet and begin to release both of your legs over towards the right. So this is a variation pose. It's not the classical pose for Jatha Parivartanasana is our knees are together and we're releasing them to the right. In this pose, the left knee is facing the ceiling. And this is primarily because we're trying to open up the left hip flexor as well as the left inner hip crease. Take the arms out to the sides if you haven't already. Allow the shoulders to release upon the mat and breathe here. So this is once again an opportunity for us to lengthen our tailbone forward, to engage our core muscles, and to allow our arms to spread across the back of the mat. Once again, knees draw back to center. Good. You're going to hug the left knee in. You're going to release the left knee down. One more time. Arms extend up and over the head. Wrap the outer triceps in. Firm the top of the humerus muscles. So the humerus are the top of the arm bones. Firm them in towards the shoulder girdle and begin to lengthen those arms up and over the head. Pinky side of the finger begins to rotate in as you begin to smooth the flesh of the buttocks all the way towards the heels. As you exhale, lower those hips on down, hug both knees into the chest. So as you hug both knees into the chest, rock the head to the left, rock the head to the right, and then just begin to rock the legs slightly to the right and slightly to the left. So it's a great way, oftentimes we warm up just by taking these poses here. Now as you feel ready, release the feet back onto the mat. Allow the legs to roll entirely over to your right side. Pause, be here for a moment, and just begin to press your way up as you find your way into a seated position. So let's come to our seats. If you have a yoga blanket, you could sit on top of that. If you don't, you can sit on the floor. Cross the legs here. And once again, begin to come back to your breath. So as you come back to your breath, inhale, float the arms up and above the head. As you exhale, draw the hands in through the center chest. So allow your sternum to lift up towards your chest as you draw the elbows down the spine. Draw the elbows rather down towards the hip creases. Inhale, begin to lift the sternum on up. So just breathe here for a moment, setting any intention if you'd like, and just continue to be mindful. Interlace the fingers at the center chest. Press your palms forward in front of you. Inhale, float those arms all the way up towards the ceiling here. So once we float those arms up towards the ceiling, engage your belly. Let the belly draw towards the back of the spine. Firm the outer triceps in and begin to look up towards those fingers here. As you exhale, begin to look forward again. Now turn the chest over towards the left side of the room. Release the hands here so that the palms are facing one another. Lift up a little bit more through the right palm. Take the left palm, place it behind the back body, and glide your right arm over the left leg. Inhale, begin to peel up the chest. Exhale, begin to twist the body over to the left. If you can, keep those feet flexed, meaning that the toes are facing the tops of the knees. Keep lifting through that right side of the chest. Keep pressing down through the left palm. Maybe begin to rotate the head over that left shoulder. Inhale, float those arms back to center. Exhale, bring those hands back into the center chest. Reinterlace the fingers here the opposite way. If you'd like, take the legs forward, cross the legs, and recross the legs the opposite way. So legs cross the opposite way. Palms come forward of the chest. Draw the humerus bones back into the shoulder girdle. Hug that belly in as you lengthen the arms up towards the ceiling. So this is very similar to what we just did on the ground. We're smoothing the flesh of the buttocks down. We're engaging the belly in, and we're wrapping the outer arms in and up. Begin to turn the chest over to the right side of the room. Release the hands from the bind. Glide the fingers up so the fingers face one another. Take the right palm, place it back behind you. Lengthen through that left arm. Glide the left palm over the right knee. Inhale, begin to peel up the chest here. Exhale, begin to rotate that head all the way over your right shoulder. So continue to breathe here as you engage your belly. Continue to spin the crown of the head so that you look over your right shoulder here. And then as you continue to breathe here, feel the center chest lengthening forward. Feel the belly engaged. Continue to spin the crown of the head over towards the right. Inhale, float those arms up and above your head. As you exhale, one more time, bring those hands back to center. If you'd like, you can join in on a very nice simple Om here. So take a deep breath in. Release the chin towards the chest. And then from here, let's find our way onto our hands and our knees. So, as you find your way into your hands and your knees, spread the fingers wide apart. See that the arms are pressing down firmly into the mat. Allow the outer arms to wrap in so that the triceps begin to revolve in towards the armpits. Begin to lengthen your sternum forward as you drag the mat towards the back of the room. As you exhale here, press through the tops of the fingers. Feel the tailbone coiling down towards the backs of the knees. Release the head all the way down towards the mat. Good. As you inhale, drag the mat back to the back of the room. So the hands stay stationary, but you're dragging the skin of the fingers all the way back as you lengthen the sternum all the way forward. As you exhale here, rounding through the spine, allow the tail to coil towards the knees. Allow the belly to hug in towards the middle spine. Release the shoulders on down. Inhale, begin to peel up the chest, the heart, and the sternum here. Good. One more time. As you exhale, press down through the tops of the feet. Tailbone down, belly engaged. Release the crown of the head down. Wrap those outer trapezius muscles in towards the midline of the body. Once again, inhale here as you begin to peel up the chest. As you exhale, tuck the toes underneath. Press the thigh bones back. Engage the belly. Downward facing dog pose. And because it's our first downward facing dog pose, I'd recommend you walk the dog. So begin to bend that left knee as you straighten through that right leg. Begin to bend that right knee as you straighten through that left leg. So once again, left knee bends, right leg is straight. And one more time, right knee bends, and the left leg is straight. Good. And then from here, spread across the fingers. Feel the forearms lifting up. Feel the thigh bones drawing back. Continue to breathe here as you spin the outer upper arms in towards the plumb line of the body. The plumb line's the direct center of the body. As you feel ready, begin to walk the hands back towards those feet. Walk the hands back towards the feet. Find your way into a forward fold. There can be a light bend in the knees here, and release the chest all the way down towards the thighs. See that the belly is hugging in. See that the head is releasing down towards the feet. Inhale, peel up the chest halfway. So you could take your hands to the shins and begin to lengthen your side ribs all the way to the armpits. As you exhale here, release the crown of the head back down towards the mat. Good. So once again here, glide the hands up the shins, belly's engaged. Wrap those outer trapezius muscles in towards the plumb line of the body. Continue to feel the sternum lengthening towards the crown of the head. As you exhale here, hinge and fold. Release the hands down the feet or down the legs and have a light bend in those knees. One more time, inhale, peeling the chest on up. So once again, as we lengthen through the sternum, just like we did when we were on the mat, feel the humerus bones beginning to draw in towards the shoulder girdle. Hug that belly in. As you exhale, glide the hands down the feet. Walk the hands forward to the front of the mat. One more time, find your way back into downward facing dog pose. Release the head on down. So downward facing dog pose, let's release the knees down to the mat again. As you release the knees down to the mat, spread across the fingers here. If you need any protection for the knees, please consider placing a blanket underneath the knees right now. Another option that you have is you can fold the mat in a couple of times, and that's a great way to build protection in the knees. As you exhale here, begin to float that right leg up behind you. So as you press down through the right palm and the left shin, the right outer thigh begins to revolve in, and you can extend through your right inner foot here. Squeeze the belly in. Firm that left outer buttocks in towards the plumb line of the body. As you exhale here, lower that right knee down. Inhale, press down through all 10 fingers. Begin to float up through that left leg. Wrap those outer trapezius muscles in. Engage the belly here and begin to firm in through that left outer thigh crease. Right hip draws in as well. Breathe in here as you squeeze through the belly. If you need any support, please see that your right knee is on a blanket. Exhale, lower that left knee on down. Spread across the fingers here. Tuck the outer toes underneath. Begin to press the forearms forward as you float the thigh bones up. Downward facing dog pose. So downward facing dog pose, let's walk the hands back towards the feet again. And inhale, lengthen through the chest, heart, and sternum here. Good. So once again, light bend in those knees. It's not a major bend in the knees, just a light bend in the knees. And continue to wrap your outer trapezius muscles in towards the body. See that the shoulder blades are melting down the back so that the sternum is lengthening forward towards the crown of the head. As you exhale, one more time here, release those hands down towards the mat. Walk the fingers forward once again. Belly's engaged here. Release the knees down towards the mat. And then from here, softly release the belly all the way down towards the mat. Excellent, yogis. Perfect. And breathe here. So what I'd recommend doing now is taking the forehead to the mat and walking your hands back. So walk your left hand back and see that your left hand is right alongside of your left rib cage. So the ribs, there's 12 of them. And you want your hands to be right around the last 2 ribs, which in the front of the body is ribs number, I believe it's 10. I believe it's 10, 8, and 9, or 10, 9, and 8. So you press the fingers there, and you begin to press the mat forward in front of you. As you do so, draw those elbows in. Feel the belly engaged here. Continue to lengthen your shoulder blades in towards the center chest. Smooth the flesh of the buttocks towards the heels. See that the tops of the feet are pressing down towards the mat. Continue to breathe here as you draw the tops of the shoulder blades towards the back body, lengthening through the spine. As you exhale, lower all the way down. You could keep your hands there and just release the forehead down on the mat. Let the toes relax here. And then one more time. Press down through the tops of the feet. Inhale, begin to peel up the chest. So see that those outer elbows are hugging in. Spread across the fingers here. Begin to push the mat forward as you draw the shoulder blades back. The belly's engaged here. The tops of the feet are pressing down to the mat. Continue to draw in from the pubis all the way through to the crown of the head. So you can almost feel like the buttocks, the muscles of the buttocks, they're engaged here. And that actually protects the low back. As you exhale, lower that head on down. Release the legs. This helps to release the outer hip muscles, the hip flexors. And then one more time here. Inhale. Begin to peel up the chest. Elbows draw in. Belly's engaged. Smoothing the flesh of the buttocks towards the heels. Begin to lengthen that chest, heart, and sternum forward. Great, yogi. So as you exhale, tuck those toes underneath. Press down through the feet. Press down through the knees. Press down through the hands. Make your way back into tabletop pose. And as you feel ready, float those thighs back to the back of the mat. Downward facing dog pose once again. Spread across the fingers here. See that the pointer fingers are parallel with the sides of the mat. Allow the inner forearms to draw in. Belly is engaged here. See that your hip bones continue to draw back towards your heels. Then once again, look forward in between the hands and walk the feet forward towards the front of the mat. As you take the hands back towards the shins, inhale, begin to peel the chest forward and up. So now you probably have a lot more length in your side body. So press down through the tops of the feet. Firm the outer trapezius muscles in here as you breathe. Okay. Keep the body where it's at. Begin to float your right arm forward of the chest. Keep the head low so that you're not putting too much pressure on the head or the neck. You're just gazing forward, right down in the center of the mat, and you're drawing your right and left abdominal muscles in. As you exhale, lower that right hand down. Inhale, float the left arm up. So as you draw that left arm forward, belly engaged here, lengthen through the sternum. Keep drawing the hip bones back. As you exhale, lower that left hand on down. Good. Take the hands to the hips now. Press down through the tops of the feet. Begin to straighten your legs all the way. Smooth the flesh of the buttocks all the way down towards the backs of the heels. Release the arms out to the side. Palms are in what we call external rotation. Feet are about hips width distance apart, and your breath is long and slow here. So we're going to begin to move through some A-series sun salutations. These are called half A-series sun salutations. So as you spread across the toes, see that the thigh bones are lifting up. See that the buttocks flesh is lengthening down. Belly's engaged here. And draw those shoulder blades down the spine. As you float the arms forward, so start by bringing your pinkies forward to face one another, and then externally rotate those arms, seeing that the pinkies line up with the pinky fingers, the thumbs line up with the thumbs, and the arms are up over the head in external rotation here. Very good. As you exhale, hinge the hips and fold all the way forward. The slower you go, the better. Ideally, this is like a very gentle movement here. Inhale, hands come to the shins. Peel up the chest halfway. So we've already done this several times today. Keep a light bend in those knees and peel the chest forward and up. You can feel the shoulder blades moving down the spine. As you exhale here, release the crown of the head down towards the mat. Release those fingers on down. Press through the tops of the feet here. Belly's engaged. Inhale, begin to float those arms all the way up towards the ceiling. So once again here, the four corners of the feet press down. Thigh bones draw back. Belly's engaged. And as you exhale, glide these hands out to the sides of the body. Excellent. Again, inhale, float the arms up and above the head. So this time, maybe look up to watch those fingers. See that the forearms are parallel with one another. See that the outer trapezius muscles are wrapping in. Feel the shoulder blades moving down the spine here as you look on up. As you exhale, hinge forward. So you hinge at the hips, glide the arms out to the sides like you have airplane wings, and then release the fingers down towards the mat. Uttanasana. It's okay to have a light bend in the knees here. Take your hands to your shins. Inhale. Begin to peel the chest forward and up. Wrap those outer armpits in. Belly is engaged. Sternum draws forward as the tailbone lengthens down towards the backs of the knees. As you exhale, release the hands back down those legs. Inhale, float those arms up towards the ceiling. Continue to press down through those feet. Continue to engage the belly here. Continue to lengthen up through those fingers. Maybe the eyes float up towards the ceiling. As you exhale, glide those hands back down and to the sides. One more time. Inhale, floating those arms up towards the ceiling. As you exhale, hinge and fold. Inhale, lengthening through the chest, heart, and sternum here. Plant the hands down on the mat this time. Walk your feet back and find your way into the top of a push-up pose. Now you can always lower the knees down to the mat here. You do want to spread across the fingers, engage the belly here, and see that the hip bones continue to release back towards the heels. Lengthen your sternum forward. As you exhale, lower those knees on down. Release the chest all the way down towards the mat. The elbows bend. And walk the fingers back once again. So see that the thumbs are hugging against the outer ribs. Draw the elbows in towards the plumb line of the body. Inhale, begin to peel on up for Bhujangasana, Cobra's pose. And as you exhale, tuck those toes underneath. Press the palms back. Belly engaged, downward facing dog pose. This is called a vinyasa. These actions that we move through right here, this is called a vinyasa. And vinyasa in yoga, in Sanskrit, means to place in a special way. So we're doing these poses for a specific purpose. Not just, it is a physical workout, of course, but we're also learning how to focus our attention. As you look forward in between the hands, walk the feet forward towards the front of the mat. Take your hands to your shins here. Inhale. Begin to peel the chest forward and up. So the belly's engaged here. The thigh bones are drawing back. The heart is lengthening forward. Crown of the head is lifting up. As you exhale, hinge and fold here. Release the crown of the head all the way down. Spread across the toes. Draw the thigh bones back. Inhale, float the arms up towards the ceiling. Belly's engaged here. And as you exhale, glide the arms back, down, and out to your sides. Very good, yogis. So, Tadasana pose is also a resting pose. So it's a yoga pose, but ideally in this posture, you should be able to rest a little bit. So the breath should come back to its normal respirations. The body should start to relax. You can still evaluate the body to notice where your weight is being distributed, where your energy is in the body, but ideally you want to be relaxed in this pose. Again, inhale, float those arms up towards the ceiling. I recommend looking the head up, maybe lifting through those pinky fingers a little bit more. As you exhale, hinge and fold here. Release the entire torso down towards the mat. As you inhale, peel up the chest. Wrap the outer trapezius muscles in. Engage the belly here. As you exhale, plant the hands back down on the mat and walk the feet back, finding your way into plank pose again. So plank pose, in a vinyasa class, we don't have to move through this process of plank, chaturanga, up dog, down dog. Sometimes we can just move straight into down dog. If you'd like, though, you can lower the knees down. You can lower the chest all the way down. Try to keep those elbows as close to the body as possible. We actually reorient our fingers to walk our hands back so that our thumbs are touching along the edges of our ribs. Then as you draw the elbows in towards the plumb line of the body, plumb line is just the center of the body. Begin to feel the tops of the shoulder heads drawing back. So even here, it's a very slight lift of the chest. And as you exhale, tuck those toes underneath. Press down through the fingers and through the tops of the toes. Begin to float the chest on up. Begin to float the thighs on back. Downward facing dog pose. Downward facing dog pose. And in a level 1 class, we begin to teach the actions of lifting the legs. So as you spread across the fingers here, as you press down through the left ball of the foot, begin to inhale, float the right thigh up towards parallel with the mat. So if you notice a lot of strain in that left leg, I'd recommend bending that left knee slightly and drawing your left outer hip back. Good. Continue to breathe here as you spread across those shoulders. As you exhale, lower that right foot down. And we're going to do the same to the left side. So spread across the fingers here. Wrap the outer triceps in. Inhale, float that left leg up. So the right knee bends here. The right outer thigh drives on back. See that the left inner thigh is lifting up. Spread across the fingers here. Continue to engage your belly. Lengthen your side ribs all the way out towards your hip bones. As you exhale, lower that foot on down. Let's release the knees on down to the mat and take our blocks, place our blocks right at the front of our mat. So typically as we teach transitions, and you guys have been practicing, some of you guys have been practicing with me for almost a few months now. The idea to transition is you want to do it in a safe way. So I always recommend for beginners to lower the knees down to the mat. I will teach the action in a moment of how to step forward your leg, but it's best to start in this action. Place the hands on blocks here. Take the right foot in between both of the blocks. Now as you press through the left ball of the foot, press down through the fingers. Fingers are spread wide across on those blocks. Well, actually, even before we do that, press down through the right toes. Drive the right hip back. Draw the shoulder blades down the spine. So already here, you're beginning to lengthen the chest forward of those shoulders. The shoulder blades are moving down the spine and in towards the center chest. So as we exhale here, you're going to look down towards the foot, the right foot rather. You're going to plant your right foot down on the mat. You're going to press through those palms. Press through the left ball of the foot to lift the left thigh up. So now we're in this pose that's sometimes referred to as a half or a lunge. It's not a half lunge. This is an actual lunge. So as you take this pose, drive your right outer hip back towards the left heel. Draw the left knee up towards the left back of the knee or towards the left thigh. It's okay to have a light bend in that left knee as well. As you press that left heel back, can you feel the left outer hip firming in towards the plumb line of the body? Lengthen through the chest here. Good. Now, spin that left heel down towards the mat. Bring your hands inside of your leg and walk your right toes towards the center of the mat. So you may need to reorient yourself so that your right heel and your left arch of the foot are in a single line. Take your right hand, place it right next to your right heel. Take your right knee, bend your right knee, and draw your right outer hip in. Now take your left hand and place your left hand on the left top of the hip. If the elbow of your right palm, if you feel too much tension there, add a little bit of a bend towards that elbow. Press through the left pinky toe side of the foot. Drive that left thigh back. Take both hands to your hips. Inhale, begin to peel up the chest here. As you feel ready, begin to straighten through that right leg and see that your right foot is in line with your right hip crease. Now look back towards your left foot just to see that your left foot is turned in slightly. And as you press through the left pinky toe side of the foot, begin to draw the left outer hip forward. The right hip draws back. So we do this, and the hips, believe it or not, they come into somewhat of a transverse plane where the hips are kind of turning like this. They're turning from like the side towards the diagonal. And as you do that, as you turn the hips in that way, you may consider taking your blocks and placing them on the other side of your right leg. So even double stacking the blocks is oftentimes very nice in a beginner's practice. Press down through the right ball of the foot. See that the right outer hip draws in towards the midline of the body. As you press through the left hand, begin to spin the top of the chest up towards the ceiling. So notice here that your balance may be slightly off. So it's very important that you feel into your feet so you're not putting all of your weight into that right palm. That's a good way to ensure that we have balance in the body. Now, press down through the left ball of the foot, pinky toe side of the foot. Engage the belly here. Begin to float your left arm up towards the ceiling. As you float that left arm up towards the ceiling, take the right shoulder back in towards the center line of the body. Begin to breathe here as you look up towards those left fingers. Good. Then from here, inhale. Let that left arm float you up. Hands come back to the hips. Bend deeply into that right knee. So it's okay, the knee may or may not bend 90 degrees. Over time, I mean, even now, still, getting that 90-degree bend is a challenge. So you can lift the toes up if you'd like slightly and just begin to breathe here. That's it. So this is a really nice strengthening pose for the outer hip flexor as well as for the quadricep muscles. Straighten that leg one more time. Take your blocks to either side of that right foot. Bend deeply into that right knee and spin onto the left ball of the foot. So on blocks, you can do this. You just have to do it with control. You're going to step your right leg back to meet the left. And then from here, lower those knees down to the mat. So we come back to our center plane. Spread across the fingers here. When you're going to sneeze and then hold it back. As you drive the triceps in, begin to lengthen through the sternum here. So draw the shoulder blades down the spine. Good. Now, begin to tuck the toes underneath. Float those thigh bones back. One more time, take ourselves into downward facing dog pose. All right. From downward facing dog pose this time, float that left leg up. So it's a little bit different than what we just did. You're going to draw the left knee into the chest. Shift the weight forward, shoulders over wrist. And you have one of two options. You can release your right knee onto the ground now to step your left foot forward. Or you can come onto your fingertips and literally step your left foot forward without letting the right knee touch the ground. That's the action that we start to develop in a level 1-2 class. Release the right knee down to the mat. Take your hands onto blocks. And as you spread across the fingers, press down through those blocks. So root your hands down into the blocks. feel your shoulder blades already moving down the spine here. That's it. Begin to allow your left outer hip to draw back. Begin to allow your belly to engage here. Lengthen your sternum all the way up through the crown of the head. Tuck your right toes underneath. Float the right thigh on up. As you press that right thigh back, begin to engage your belly here. Lengthen through the chest, the heart, the sternum here, as you engage your core muscles. Good. As you exhale here, begin to spin the right heel down to the mat. Take both hands inside of that left leg. So the left hand comes inside, the right hand comes inside. Walk those left toes towards the center of the mat. Take your left hand, place it inside of your left leg. See that your left outer hip hugs in. See that your right hand comes to the right top of the hip. Now, as you begin to draw your left shoulder back, bend deeply into your left knee. See that your right hip is spinning down towards the mat. Press down through the right pinky toe side of the foot. As you feel ready, inhale, lift the right arm up towards the ceiling. Let the right arm lift us up and place both hands on the hips as you straighten through that left leg. So, take a moment here to just look at the leg. See that your left foot, your left knee, and your left hip are all in one line. One of the most common issues here is that the knee is not in a perfect line. So when we bend that knee, it either bends inside, which would be like an internal bend into that knee, or outside, which would be an external bend to that knee. Neither one of these is good for our knees, okay? Yoga, hopefully, is about protecting our knees. It should be about protecting our whole physical body as a whole. But you do want to kind of keep those knees protected here. We take the blocks and we place them on the opposite side. So I'd recommend just stacking them up. And what I'm going to do, guys, is I'm going to turn towards you just so you guys can see me here. This way it's a little bit easier to see the pose. So, hands are on the hips, belly's engaged. See that the left heel is in line with the right arch of the foot. Begin to hinge the hips on forward. That's it. Left hip drives back, right hip drives forward. So already, if you look at the hips, they're beginning to rotate like this. So they start out neutral, and then they begin to go, well, it's actually, the right leg is slightly external, but what we're doing is we're rotating the leg slightly to a more neutral position with respects to the pelvis. Then from here, you're going to take your left hand, place it on top of your left block. You're going to place your right hand on your right hip. Press down into the right pinky toe side of the foot. Begin to turn your right hip down. As you press through the left big toe mound side of the foot, begin to float the left side of the chest up. So even though the right hip is turning down, and believe it or not, the right hip is turning down here. The common misconception in this pose is the right hip is turning up towards the ceiling. If you do that, that's going to put a ton of pressure in the muscle that's right on the outer side of the hip, right here, right where the sit bone is. You'll feel a ton of pressure there, okay? So then from here, or the hip bone rather. And then from here, as you feel ready, float the right arm up towards the ceiling. So maybe add a light bend to the left knee so that all the weight is not on that left heel. The weight is even in the left foot. Allow the left ball of the foot to press down. Allow the left outer hip to drive back. If you feel any tension in that left elbow, it's okay to bend the elbow a little bit here. You don't want to kind of press so much into the elbow into the socket, into the respective elbow joint, that you create instability here. So keep driving that arm up. The right hip turns down, the left hip turns up. Hug the left buttocks in towards the plumb line of the body. So you're lengthening through the chest. If you feel a stretch along the psoas right here, just begin to see that you shift the weight slightly, so the ball of the foot towards the heel, and then draw the belly in. The belly should help protect the psoas. So usually when we have that joint or that nerve pain in the back of the leg, that's usually as a result of the nerve pressing up against the bone as opposed to creating some space there. Inhale, float that right arm up. Take the hands to the hips and spin both feet into parallel. So turn your left foot in, turn your right foot in. Place your hands right at the back of where your tailbone is. It's so interesting. We have the hands right there, right? And this is usually a lot of people when they experience low back issues. This is one of the prime locations that gets the toll or the brunt of lower back issues. Right here in the right down the base of that bone. So you could run your hands along the sacrum and you'll feel like how the sacrum kind of tails off to the center of the buttocks right as that moves on down. If you move down your hands across that region, that's usually where the nerve pain starts. So if you feel any sense of nerve pain, a great way to reduce that is by bending your knees. Even here in this pose, a light bend in those knees, it creates space in the back muscles, and that allows for us to kind of release a little bit more here. Now glide your hands down the legs as we come into a forward fold here. I'd still recommend a light bend in those knees. And if the feet are not parallel, which for me they're not, you may want to walk the right toes forward and release the head on down here. So see that the hands grab hold of the outer shins and release that head on down. Bend into those knees, release the head down, and just let the breath be long and slow here. And then from here, this is called Prasarita Padottanasana D because our hands are on our shins. If you'd like, place the hands on the floor. Just let the weight shift forward so that the weight shifts in towards the fingertips. And just allow the head to release on down. So if the head does not release down towards the mat, that's fine. You could place your hands on blocks here. You'll get a very similar benefit. The hands can't reach the blocks, take the hands, place them along the shins. And then from here, glide the hands up towards the low back one more time. Walk the feet in towards each other and find your way back into Tadasana pose, standing mountain pose. Spread across the fingers here. See that the toes are spread wide apart. Feel the inner legs lifting up. Feel the top of the buttocks flesh lengthening down towards the heels. Engage the belly here. Allow for a softness in through the core as you lengthen up through the sternum. Good. And then as you feel ready, we're going to find our way onto our mats. So take your way down. Have a seat here. Have a seat on a block. And then begin to extend your legs forward in front of you. So you can take your legs, you can extend them forward to the front of your mat and come into a pose called Dandasana. So guys, remember how we started? Elbows drawing in, belly engaged, lifting through the sternum. Good. So the tops of the fingers are pressing down. The belly is engaged here. The trapezius muscles are moving down the spine as you lengthen through the chest. So continuing to breathe here. As you feel ready, drawing your right knee into the center chest. Right knee hugs in. And now release the right leg out to the right side. So what I'd recommend here for a lot of students is to place a block right underneath the top of the right knee, only if it's lifting up. I know some of you, the knee is not lifting up, so just let the leg release down onto the mat here. Now take a strap. Place a strap right underneath the top of the foot and begin to lengthen your chest down forward. So if you could grab hold of your foot, that's fine here. Grab hold of your foot and release the chest down forward. Now draw the left outer hip back. Draw the right side of the chest forward and breathe here. So continue to lengthen through your chest, through your heart, and through your sternum. Let that breath be soft here. This is called Janu Shirshasana or head to knee pose. And you may release the head to the knee and you may not. Both variations are fine. You're going to continue to release that right knee down. You're going to continue to draw that left hip back. And maybe begin to lower that head down. All right, and then inhale, lifting the chest on up. So take your block, place your block on the other side of the leg. Take your left knee, draw it to a bend, let the knee lift up to start, and then release the left knee down onto the block. Take your strap, place your strap directly over your right foot, and inhale, begin to peel up the chest too. So very similar to the first action that we talked about in today's class. The humerus bones draw in towards the shoulder girdle. As that happens, the sternum draws forward and the belly hugs in, right? That was our first action that we talked about when we were lying on our back at the very beginning of class, all of those moments ago. So continue to lengthen the left side of your chest towards that right foot. Continue to see that that right thigh is pressing down. Left hip is drawing back. Breathing here as you lengthen the left side of the chest towards the right foot. And just breathe here. You could close the eyes and allow that breath to be long and slow. Good. Inhale, lifting the chest on up. Taking the left leg this time, gliding the left leg on forward. So seeing that both legs are extended forward here, both feet are flexed, and you're breathing here. Take the hands, bring the hands around the strap. Inhale, peel up the chest and heart. So you don't even have to worry about leaning the chest forward that much. You could just lengthen here and breathe. It's fine. Believe it or not, flexibility is something, yes, we do become flexible with time, but there's so many factors that come into flexibility. It's not just being able to touch the toes. Yes, over time in my yoga practice, has my flexibility increased? Absolutely it has. But knowing that your body, you have to be wherever it is. So it's best to just sit with your body and hold the pose and allow your body to softly release than it is to force the pose. So we have done that before. I've done that before. Sometimes I still do that in my own practice. I force poses because I want to get deeper. I want to feel like I can get further into the pose. But it usually is best for us to just be with the pose and allow ourselves to soften into it over time. You may find that as time goes on, yes, then you can find your way into the pose. It doesn't all have to happen at once. So just continuing to breathe here, seeing that the sternum lengthens towards the feet, seeing that the belly's engaged here. Let those eyes close. Let the breath be long and slow. Beautiful yogis. Okay, so from here, and I do apologize, I think we went a couple minutes over. We're a little past 55 right now, so hopefully you guys can enjoy a couple minutes of Shavasana pose. If you have a blanket, you could place the blanket behind the head. You're going to release your body back down onto your back here. Hug those knees into the chest and just release on down. So the shoulders release down to the mat. The tailbone lengthens down towards the heels. Release that head on down. And breathe here. And then as you feel ready, take the feet down to the mat, smooth the flesh of the buttocks away from the heels. I actually leave my hands down under the butt just so I can move the buttocks flesh forward and away. So I create some space in the hip flexors or in the outer hips. Spin the fingers up towards the ceiling and breathe here. Let the shoulder blades move into the center chest. Allow the belly to release here. Soften through those eyes. And just let your attention dissolve. When I first came to yoga, and this is almost, I don't even remember now, maybe 16 years ago or 17 years ago, something like that. This is the pose that was the reason why I came back. There's something about when you can lie here and allow all of everything to go away. It doesn't even need to be for long. Just 2 minutes in this position can completely recalibrate our minds. And that's why it's such a profound posture. And if ever you have any type of tension at the tail whatsoever, placing a little blanket under the knees is often a good option to take here. You can always do that. You can always just let the belly hug in slightly. You know, oftentimes it's the muscular stretches, just strengthening the muscles to protect the joints. And allowing for our breath to continue to find its way back into a space of well-being. And as you feel ready, bringing the knees back to a bent position, you can rock those knees right and left a couple of times. And then just begin to roll the knees over towards the side. No pressure, top palm down on the mat. Inhale, begin to peel up the chest. And let's find our way into a seated position once again. Cross legs. So, yoga is a very interesting practice because it brings us back to ourselves. It brings us back to the present moment. So, as we close our practice together, bring your hands to the center chest. If there's any intentions you'd like to set for your day, for your week, for anybody else that may be going through a struggle, you can bring them to your mind right now. And you can just release the head down, honoring towards your intention. It's like a prayer, and we don't have to let go of who we are or our past in this practice. Just be yourself. As you inhale, begin to lift the head. Release the palms to the tops of the thighs, palms face up. Gently lifting the head and opening the eyes. Namaste. So thank you guys so much. I hope that you guys enjoyed this morning's practice. I did a lot more focus on building the poses, so hopefully you guys enjoyed that approach. Instead of like going through the poses, which sometimes we do, this practice today was about building the poses. So please let me know how you felt throughout the practice. Please feel free to share the class with your friends and your family. If anybody else you think that could be interested in these practices. I really am grateful to be teaching. This is something I know is a luxury in many regards to do. I recognize that, so I'm really trying my best to kind of take it more on a professional level, like to try to be more consistent and really to bring people in. So hopefully, if you guys, think that anybody may be interested, then I'm always grateful for that. I never, this is something I know I'm extremely grateful to do. So thank you guys so much. And also just a special thanks to Gail and Aunt Dawn. You guys have been with me for the past couple of months, 2.5 months. It really has made it possible for me to be consistent with my own practice and with my own teaching. So I just really want to thank you guys. I know, it really makes a difference to know that you guys are here. So just wanted to let you guys know that. And Debbie as well. Debbie's not here. She's, wherever she is right now, work or somewhere. But, I've been really grateful. So thank you guys so much. I hope that you guys have a wonderful day. As I usually close the practice, have an awesome weekend. Yes, you too, Aunt Dawn. You as well, Gail. If anybody feels like joining in this weekend, I still have a Saturday class at 12 o'clock, which is kind of like a restorative class. I have a Sunday class at 10 a.m. and 5:30. So those are my two other classes that I have over the weekend. If anybody feels like dropping in or needs some yoga, I will be there at those times. Happy Father's Day in advance. I think I'm going to teach over Father's Day, but I may pre-record at least one of the classes, maybe the later class. So if you guys are intending to come to the 5:30, it will still be done. I just might pre-record it. I haven't decided yet. So I hope that all of you have a phenomenal rest of your day. Be well, guys. Have an incredible weekend. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the practice. Namaste, yogis. Thank you guys so much. Have a good one. Thank you.